Welcome to the Bonelab Ultimate Guide. This video is going to be jam-packed with all sorts of information you need to know to get the most out of Bonelab. A lot of which they don't even tell you in the game. This guide's going to go over how to unlock items for Sandbox, how to properly use slowmow, how to select levels and go back to them once you've completed the story, how to get the spawner gun in the story, how to use the spawner gun, how to get mods, how to get the watch that lets you change characters. We're also going to go over all 7 if you include the story game modes that this game has to offer. Where to find some of the biggest item capsules so you can unlock them in Sandbox Mode. Items like the frying pan, balloon gun, shopping cart, Go-Kart, or even avatar models like Ford and Nobody. I'll also be showing you how to continue the story if you just got to the hub and you're stuck, as well as the ins and outs of Sandbox Mode and a whole bunch more. If this video helps you out, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions I didn't cover in this video, drop them in the comments. Alright, first things first, and I wish they told you this before you even started the story, is these capsules. These item capsules are how you unlock items for Sandbox Mode. All you have to do to unlock the item inside the capsule is grab it with both hands and pull it apart. If you're like me, you probably didn't realize how these worked until halfway through the story, and now you have to go back and redeem all of them again. Now there is actually a way around this, but we'll talk about that more when we get to mods. Alright, so you beat the first level in Bonelab and you get to what's called the hub. What a lot of people don't realize here is there's actually 3 more hours of the campaign after this room. You just have to solve the puzzle in this room to continue the campaign. The hub also acts as a main menu for the game. Here you can select your game mode and explore character options. In this first part of the guide, I'm going to explain how to continue the story from level 2, the hub, and a quick overview of each game mode in the hub. If you've already completed the story and already know about the different game modes, you can skip to the time on the screen. In order to continue with the campaign, you're first going to want to explore these 6 game mode options in the hub. First being to the right, number 1, Tack Trial. This is a breach and clear style game mode with an array of weapons that you can use to take down a certain amount of enemies. The weapons available to you will vary depending on how far through the campaign you've gotten. This is a timed trial, and at the end you can see yourself up on a leaderboard compared to your friends or the community. The next game mode is to your left when exiting the elevator, number 2, Arena. Arena has 2 different game modes that you can play: Void, which has an objective and a way to escape, and Survival, which has an endless wave of enemies. Door number 3 is the Sandbox Mode. Now there's a ton that goes into this, we'll cover more of that later in the video. Remember, you need to be going into each one of these doors in order to continue with the story from this room. The next door, number 4, is Parkour. This is a fun timed game mode that lets you explore the movement mechanics in Bonelab. It's a race to the finish line with enemies getting in your way. The next door that you have to explore is number 5, Experimental. This mode seems like it'll be a bunch of minigames built in Bonelab. Whether those come from modders or the game devs themselves, we don't know. But as of now, they're just bowling in there. And finally, the last door, number 6, is for mods. Mods get tricky. There's going to be a couple different kind that you can get. We'll cover more on that later in the video. Once you've gone into each door, your next step in unlocking the rest of the story is going up to this top deck, where you'll find some batteries laying on the ground. Toss these batteries in the machine they're lying next to, and then head over to the crane controls. These controls allow you to move a crane across the whole entire room. You can see this happen on the diagram in front of you, or you can see this happen in real time if you just look up. Now, because you tried out each game mode earlier, there'll be an orb above each one of those doors. Your objective with the crane is to take this orb from the door to these pipes next to you. Once you place all 6 orbs on all 6 pipes, it should unlock the big bunker door on the side of the map. All you have to do to continue with the story is make your way through this door and follow the path. Alright, now that that's done, you need to make sure you completed the story mode in order to unlock some key items for Sandbox Mode. But once you've completed the story, you might want to go back to certain levels in order to get items you missed or just to replay them. There's 2 different ways you can do this, the easiest being right next to this character selection screen in the hub menu. All you have to do is hover over the info and click on it, and it should change to game. There, not only will you see a way to choose old levels, but also a way to select any of the game modes without going to the doors. You might notice on the campaign that levels 6 through 11 are missing, but you can find each missing level under one of the different game modes. For example, number 9, Moonbase, is under Sandbox. Right next to this menu where you can select old campaign levels is your character selection screen. Now, if you don't already have the armband that lets you instantly change characters, that just means you haven't completed the story yet. All you have to do to unlock that armband is complete the storyline. Now, once you have the character selection armband, you can actually come to this character selection screen in the hub and change what characters are on the band. This character selection screen shows the statistics for each character, which actually changes how they interact with the environment. Stats like strength and speed matter depending on what you're trying to accomplish. There's a whole bunch of different characters you can choose from, some presets, ones that you unlocked in the campaign, modded characters, and characters that can be found around the map. Speaking of characters hidden around the map, there's actually 3 that you can unlock here inside level 2 hub. There's Ford, Jimmy, and Nobody. Jimmy is above the elevator that you spawn in on this level. All you have to do is jump up and climb up there. The Nobody character model is found in the dumpster next to the parkour door, but sometimes you can't always see it and it spawned in the trash. All you have to do is force grab the left corner and it should come to your hand. And finally, and probably the most popular character model hidden in the hub, is Ford. Ford is on top of this right pillar next to this door on the outskirts of the hub map. Now, I climbed up there, but you can just turn into the tall character model and grab it. Now remember, most of these item capsules won't actually spawn in until you beat the game. Speaking of items that won't spawn in, the utility gun capsule is right next to the crane controls up on the upper deck. While we're talking about item capsule locations, I'm going to go through some of the most popular items and how to unlock them for Sandbox Mode. First 2 items are the Go-Kart and the balloon gun. Both of these are located on the racetrack level. All you have to do to get back there is go over to the mod door and choose modded maps, and it should show up level 10. Now the Go-Kart capsule should be right to your right when you spawn in. This one's hard to miss, you probably got it during the campaign. And the balloon gun is actually right above you. All you have to do is leave the building, go around to the side, and follow the ramps up. Once you make it to the top, the balloon gun capsule should be laying right there in the middle of the floor. The next two items that are highly requested are the shopping cart and the frying pan. In order to unlock these, we're going to head over to the Sandbox door, but before we walk through the door, we're going to unlock the Nimbus Gun that allows us to fly in-game. The Nimbus Gun item capsule is located in the bucket floating above the Sandbox door. In order to get it, you can either climb straight up or walk along the walls around the side and jump into the bucket. Once you have found that capsule, you're going to want to go down to the door and enter the Tuscany Sandbox map. This is where we'll find the shopping cart and the frying pan. The frying pan is super simple, it's on a table on the other side of the house. The shopping cart, on the other hand, is a ways out there and you might want to use the Nimbus Gun to get to it. If you fly straight out the front door of the house, you should eventually see some other houses. The shopping cart item capsule should be in a milk crate on top of one of the chimneys of the house. Now those are just the most requested items, there's still a ton more to unlock and they can be located in the story, in the hub, or even in the different game modes. Now there's actually a way to download a full save file that will unlock you all of the items if you don't want to go looking for them, but we'll talk about that more when we talk about mods. Alright, so you've beaten the story and unlocked a bunch of items, and now you want to mess around in Sandbox mode. I've got a couple different tips and tricks for you that'll help you get the most out of Sandbox. First is the utility gun. Now a lot of people don't actually know how this thing works. This item spawns at the beginning of each Sandbox map, and you can use it to spawn in weapons, enemies, and different objects. In order to use the spawner gun, you're going to pick it up and use the top button in whatever hand that spawner gun is in, right being B and left being Y. While holding this top button, a menu will come up, and to the left you'll see utilities. You want to hover over utilities and then let go of that top button. This will open up the spawning menu where you can choose whatever you want to spawn with the utility gun. In order to select in this menu, you're going to use that same top button you used earlier, Y or B. Once you've selected what you want to spawn, you're going to point away from the menu and use the trigger with that hand to spawn the item. You can actually spawn things once the selection menu is closed, you just can't change what you're spawning. Now even though the only places this utility gun spawns is Sandbox modes, you can actually get it in the story and in other game modes. In order to do that, we're going to have to turn on developer mode within the game. Developer mode also gives you a couple other nice things like the ability to change your scene or your avatar from anywhere within the game. It also allows you to spawn in a Nimbus Gun that allows you to fly anywhere, even throughout the story. This is nice to use to go back through the story and get some of those items you may have missed. Just a reminder that developer mode is kind of like hacks for the game. You don't need it to beat the game at all, it just makes some things a little easier. In order to turn on developer mode, you're going to want to hit the left start button and quit to the main menu. From here you're going to want to click on mods and then go to settings, and here you should see an option to turn on developer mode. You can turn this on by the door by the mod game mode, but you still have to restart the game, so this is just faster. Once you turn the setting on and load back into the game, hold B. You should see 3 new options. The first one being avatars, allowing you to change your avatars without being at the avatar selection screen in the hub. The second one in the top right is scenes. This allows you to jump around the game again without being at that menu in the hub. And the last new option we have here in the bottom left is Devtools. Clicking on this spawns in a Nimbus Gun and a utility gun, the Nimbus Gun to allow us to fly around the map, and the utility gun to spawn in whatever we want, wherever we want, even Fords and Go-Karts in the hub. These tools can be used in the hub, the story mode, and all the different game modes, essentially turning the whole game into a sandbox. Some other quick tips for Sandbox, or really any other game mode, is when you first spawn in, you'll see a blue button and a red button. The red button resets to level, and the blue button returns you to the hub. As far as slow motion goes, the mechanic's kind of tricky to figure out. Basically, there's 3 different levels of slow motion. Every time you click the button, the game gets slower and slower until you get to that max 3rd level. Slow motion will stay on as long as you're still holding that button or moving the left thumbstick. But the second you are no longer holding that slow motion button and not moving the left thumbstick, the game will fade out of slow motion. And finally, let's talk about mods. There's already a ton of fun mods that you can download for the game, like Mario Racetracks or avatars like Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Shrek. Now, even though there is a built-in mod menu, the only approved mods that we can download without a computer right now are the ones built by the development team. We don't know if mods made by the community will make their way to this list or if they'll stay under external mods. To find Bonelab mods, you're going to want to go to mod.io and click on the Bonelab section. Here is where you can look for mods for the Quest2 version, the PC VR version, or both. Here is also where you can download a full save file. These save files basically just automatically complete the game for you. You can find some save files with most of the items already unlocked. In order to get these mods on your headset, you will have to plug the headset into your computer and then transfer the files from there. Any computer will work for this, it doesn't have to be a gaming computer, and you can even use your charging cable to plug it into your computer. So for now, you do need a computer to download mods, but since there's already a mod menu, it wouldn't surprise me if they made it possible to download mods just using the headset. Some games already have this feature built in, like Contractors and Battle Talent, so it's definitely possible. If this video helped you out at all, definitely hit that like button and subscribe. I got plenty more Bonelab and Quest2 content coming out soon. And I'll toss my Discord and other socials down in the description. I appreciate y'all sticking around. Peace.